Hey, what's up? It's Kit. Time for another video. Today, we talk about the tools. This is kind of like a segue because instead of actually the next topic was supposed to be jigs. Okay, but this is something very important. And I think a lot of people, before they actually get into stuff like this, they should consider buying something similar to what I'm showing you guys. I'm going to be showing you guys the tools that I use because this is what I use. Okay. Now, but it's very important to actually have something that's similar to this. Okay. I'm not saying buy these. Okay. What I'm saying is get something similar. Okay. Now, if you like what you see with what I'm using and you want to buy the same thing, that's fine. Okay. What I'm saying though is just get something that functions the same way. Okay. Because I understand what I'm using might be not available in your country. A and B might be not practical to get. Okay. For one reason or another. Okay. Now, obviously, the very first one would be specialized pliers for your split rings. And this is a tool that was sold by Storm. Okay. So as you can see there, it actually says Storm. Ay, ay, ay. Okay. There we go. So it says Storm. I have a few of these that I use and I really like it. If you could look at the tip right there, that's super small and it's made specifically for small split rings. Okay. Very, very important to get this. And this is why I'm actually talking about this first, because and as you could notice, this is actually very well used. You don't have to get this. There are others like this, okay? In fact, I actually kind of looking for one, and I couldn't find it. Actually, you know what? Let me find another one, just as an example. Okay, I couldn't find the exact pliers I was looking for, but I found one which is better and one that is a very good example that you shouldn't get. Okay, so this one, I'm not going to show you the brand, but this one is actually quite decent. Okay, but if you look at the if you look at the jaw, and we'll compare it side by side, okay? So if you look at the jaw right there, compare it with literally something similar, okay? You can see there the difference, okay? You can see how this one has a much smaller tip. And that's very important because if you use this other one, and the reason why I'm showing you both of these is because, you know, these are actually similar sized. Okay, if you look, okay, similar sized one, see? Right? But the jaw is, that's where it is. So you saw how small the jaws are on this, the nib, whereas this one actually quite big. Now, once you get into the micro sizes, even more difficult, okay? So this is literally one of the best, if not the best, for really tiny split rings, okay? This one is from Daiwa. Okay, you can see the model name right there. Field pliers 2. Okay, and this is really good for micro split rings. And man, I'm telling you, really, really good for its use. Obviously, it is very, very, I would say, kind of specialist. Okay, so you'll be using really, really fine split rings, and it works really well. Obviously, when you use something big for the smaller split rings, they stretch out, and it's very important that you have the right tool. Otherwise, when you stretch out the split ring, then that's it. So literally, you have 3 pliers here that are kind of compact. Okay, 3 split ring pliers that are kind of compact, and they each have kind of the same what do you call this, kind of the same function. Okay, they have the same locking mechanism, they all have cutters, and this one has a big point. Okay, so the notch is big for this. This is smaller, this is the smallest. Okay, so each of them are actually very unique, even if they're kind of similar sizes. Okay, so small, medium, large, pretty much. Very important. And again, I can't stress the importance of having the right sized tip so that you don't stretch out your split ring. Okay, now the second tool that I believe is actually quite important is a fish grip. Now, again, you can choose something like this. Okay, very simple. Okay, just basically a device that you can hold the fish and control it. That's the most important bit, controlling the fish. Okay, so for this one, if you lip grip, obviously, and what happens also is that this has a weighing scale. Okay, for me, this is very important, not just for the obvious reason. Okay, but the reason why I carry this around is because I set drags with it. Okay, so here's a very good example. I always loop the end so it doesn't go under itself. But at the same time, I could just put it there and then measure my drag, pass it onto the rod, and then set my drags. So it doesn't have to be this one. See, I could set my drags just like that. It helps. So dual purpose for this one, obviously. And when I catch the fish, it helps me control the fish, and it's very good to go in tandem with the next tool. Okay, and I believe this is something that's always overlooked. Okay, I don't think that a lot of people realize how much damage they actually do to their hooks before they drop again. Okay, so most of the time when you hook a fish, you bring it up, then you take a pair of pliers, take that, and then bang. And then when you hook something decent, the hook gives way. Okay, and I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, never going back. So I got into the habit of actually having a hook remover. So when I'm fishing, I have this, and I control the fish with it. Okay, so like take for example, I have it gripped and all that, and then I take this, and then take the hooks off. Very useful if I am going to release the fish. If I don't release the fish, then I take it off, and then proceed to go to the cooler or wherever, and then bang, just release the fish, whatever it is, whatever it may be, to the cooler or back in the water. Having lip grips help you control the fish. Okay, it doesn't have to be that one, it could be something like this. Okay, just as long as you have a good steady grip, and even if it flops around, it's secure. You can take the hook off, easily manage the fish without touching it, because if you touch it, especially when you plan to release it, then it takes off the protective slime. It will cause the fish to get infected or get sick. Easier that way. Okay, now importance of the hook remover is that these are more gentle on the hooks than pliers. Okay, now this particular one, okay, actually has like this head right here that turns. Okay, and what it is it helps it grip the hook, see, and it doesn't bend the hook. And that's the most important thing, because when you're holding it, you can maneuver it and then pop it out. Okay, or you could just do this like that, shake, bang. Okay, so the most effective that I found is to get that at an angle, shake the fish, and then it comes loose. And that's it. Again, either to your cooler or back to the water. It's fast, very effective, and way better than your pliers. Now with your pliers, things could go really nasty, especially when you're dealing with slow jigs that have more than one hook. So as you can see here, okay, this is jig para. Okay, and it has 3 hooks. So you have one hook embedded somewhere, and this is somewhere, and then the fish is actually flailing around. If you're holding it, there's a chance that you would, get a hook on your finger and stuff. But if you have a lip grip on the fish, okay, even if it moves around, then you can easily just, get a hold of one hook, take it off, go to the side of the boat, shake the fish off, and then it's done. Okay, I learned that the hard way, and trust me, it wasn't pleasant when I had hooks on my fingers. And yeah, it was really bad. That's why for now, this has become something that has been kind of useful. Okay, so those are 3 very important tools. All right. So obviously, there's also the hook puller, okay, which I've shown you in the other videos, of course, making the assist hooks. It's no different when you're making the smaller ones, okay? It's actually very uh, useful to have those. So the hook puller and the spacer. I have it here somewhere. It could be with the vice up here. So, yeah, I'm trying to get this desk organized so that when I film, there's very little clutter and I could just grab. So those, that's it. All right. So um, I think I just needed to make this video because this is kind of the difference between there are small differences between like the big stuff and the smaller stuff, because with the smaller stuff you can have like a lip grip instead of like a gaff. So most of the time when we catch tuna, we gaff it and then we use pliers to take off the hooks, because the hooks are actually stronger and you don't really bend them. But with the smaller ones, there's a tendency to bend them if you use the pliers. Okay. And a bent hook is not going to be as good because it's wire, man. Think about it. When you break the wire, you bend it backwards and forwards, and then it kind of weakens and then it breaks. So it's the same thing with the hooks. You might get away with it once or twice, third, fourth, fifth time, it might just break. Or if you actually hook into something big, you don't want that hook to be damaged, so that you'll have as much chance of landing that bigger fish than you would with a hook that has been weakened. Okay, very very important. I think these are just what do I call them, like housekeeping things. All right, so anyway, that's it for the tools. If you have questions, go ahead and drop them down the comment section. All right, so to recap, fish lip grip to control the fish better. Keep your hands off the fish so that, just in case the hooks are flailing around, you don't get in trouble. All right. Now, this particular one has a scale that doubles for drag scale. Okay. You don't have to buy this particular one with this branding. Of course, there are others. A very good example would be just this simple one right here that just grips. There are others that have the scale as well. Okay. Make sure that you're using the right split ring pliers. This is from Storm. The other one is from Daiwa. And this is quite small. So if you are into ultralight fishing, this is literally in my ultralight box, okay? Because that's pretty much where I use like the small split rings and all that. But for micro jigging, this is what you want, because you're dealing with really small split rings. Whereas this is a little bit bigger, a little bit more solid. And I use this even for like the stuff that I use for smaller tuna. But it lives in my light shore jigging box. Okay, well, I have another one for that. This one is actually on my desk and it's my most used one. Now, choosing this just because it has like the same size doesn't necessarily mean that the tip will be the same. If you can't find something like this, what you could do is actually buy a big one and then file it down until it's really small and thin on the front side right here. Okay, you could stick it up a grinder, okay, an electric grinder, and grind it so its size changes. And what you want for this is for this bit right here to be as small as possible. As you can see here, if we actually compare it side by side, you'll see the size of the tips and how they vary, because that thing, this one right here, is actually quite big. And if you use that, it will stretch out your split rings. And a stretched out split ring is not a good thing. So if you could find nothing but this one, what you need to do, or nothing but this one, what you need to do is just grind it. Okay. Once you grind it, you just grind it to a very small size like that. Okay. As you can see, you could grind it just like that. Okay. So just grind this bit right here until it's very small, and you could use it. I've done it before. Just an issue with the metal, because sometimes the metals are actually hardened, and if you grind it, it heats up, and you need to really dip it in water a lot so that it doesn't soften up the tip. Or what you could do is actually heat it up until it's really red, and then dip it in oil. Okay, you could use used oil, or you could use what is it, peanut oil, cooking oil. If you do that, actually it bursts into flame. But for peanut oil, you could do it because it actually tolerates like really high temperatures. But you could use what do you call this, you could use used oil from car. If you have an engine change and stuff, you could use that, and it works well. So basic tempering. Okay. A hook remover is very important for me because it doesn't damage the hook. And I have bigger versions of this that I use for like the bigger stuff. You don't need to. For the bigger stuff, you could use pliers, and you can, it works well. But especially for smaller hooks, it's very, very important so that you don't damage your hooks. So that when you hook something big, your hook is in the same shape. That's A. And B, it doesn't damage the hook and open it. Because sometimes, the hook is opened, it kind of stretches out and it deforms, and you don't notice it. And believe it or not, that causes you a lot of fish that go unhooked. Okay? So again, just these tools, very, very important to have. And I believe at, one shape or form, you should actually have them in your light jigging box. If you go short jigging, these tools help out a lot as well. Okay, so that's it for this video. Hope you learned something. Like, subscribe, share, the usual stuff. And thank you for the members, obviously. If you want to help this channel move forward, memberships, and then the hat, so that we can bring the brand from online to offline, and people will see. That is it for this video. Thanks so much for watching. See you in the next one. Class dismissed.